actually had Branded Innovating Dracotail. We also have Vanquish, and we also have Break the Board as well. You guys smash the living crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out more. We're going to be taking a look at some more of the interesting builds that showed out of this weekend's YCS. And I think this was one of the more interesting ones we got to see. Was we're actually incorporating Branded Fusion into, the Dracotail deck. Now, the cool thing about this is as long as you're able to, fulfill this, you can pull back your Fallen of Albaz and you can slam down another Branded Fusion if you really needed to. It's just, it's something that kind of comes up every once in a while, but you got to be a little bit careful because, bad things could technically happen and, maybe you lose like a good powerhouse. Now, I do see we are doing Lubellion, Mirror Jade, and of course, even going with the Albion, the Sanctifier in here as well. Unfortunately, they did choose to play the Sting. No, I think Sting is a wonderful tech choice. 99% of the time, though, most of these builds just choose to shove this in to a side deck and then, board it in if you really need the specific control removal option. It also ends up just being another card that says draw one for this deck. And I mean, is that really such a bad thing? Having one more card built into your deck that generates you a resource to draw, I think is a little bit more worthwhile than we tend to give it credit for. I also do see, Saronir's coming in down here. We also have Phantasmes as we need to kind of draw in some power. And we also do have Pankratops here. Now, Pankratops is being one of those stupid cards that shows up and waves at the Yummy player as you kind of start to disassemble and break apart their board. Is really one of the haha funny options that you get here. So I do greatly appreciate having, this card as a side deck choice, but honestly, I'm just happy to see this. Also, they were playing the Frixel. Good stuff. Next up here, we actually have Vanquish Soul. I am happy to see and to report that VS is not dead, but we are making some concessions here. We are packing in, 3 Noroi. You did lose a lot of your fire, man. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, they're not doing the impulse. They're not doing the fire attackers like I've seen a lot of other people choosing to do. This is just kind of a situation that you're like, hey, we're able to roll through the rosin. We have, Jiaolongs if we need another fire target, which does end up working out. I will also say that this duelist actually main deck the shifter for as many rounds as this tournament was. To be able to bring in Shifter and to use this as a card to, disrupt the opponent. Malice is taking a backseat this format. You don't really have to deal with the BS that deck has got going on for it. But I would be, very, very obvious that, you still do need to worry about it in the off chance you do see it. Its percentage is even smaller now than it was. We're also rolling in with triple case of the canine. I think at this point, case is pretty much mandatory. You need to be able to get to the Noroi. Noroi ends up being such a good starter for you. And also, you've now got more earth targets in the deck. I don't know if you guys have realized that, but, we can actually mode change now and just start taking the opponent's stuff with this. So this ends up just being a much better card now, at least on the interaction point of, oops, I just took your opponent's monster. What you going to do about it? Yeah, especially something from the deck is cool and all, but it's our monsters now. Outside of that, build looks very, very strong. Bestial options in the side deck was another good thing, too. We also have Break the Board. So what's really funny to me, kind of having watched more and more of this meta shifting around, people really just are not prepared for a Gem Knights. And it's really funny, though, because we're in such a format where, you can break your opponent's board super easily and you're kind of good to go. But, I mean, this is just standard Gem Knight things. I want to talk about what's going on down here. They are actually bringing in basically a full canine package along with Mjolnir, but we're also seeing the Vingolf's Blessing in here. On activation, you get to send a light fairy monster from your deck to the graveyard. I understand now. So if your opponent does get kind of greedy and they see, oh, hey, you know, this bad Gem Knight player is going to go first, you know, we're going to ruin their day. You take this entire package and, I mean, you essentially just board it in and just tell your opponent to get good. It's, definitely going to be some game-breaking Yu-Gi-Oh! Here. But this is what we talk about right now in the current state of things. You know, the Mjolnir lock is not a very fun experience to be dealing with. I would almost say that this has probably become one of the most unfair parts of the modern era, and that is definitely saying something, because there are just so many points right now in the current format that this card just feels so unfair. I mean, it's all because of Quinn Curry here. Quinn Curry being able to beam this thing onto the field, or onto your opponent's field, is just so toxic. But hey, you know, if you got problems, just call Salesban. You know, don't have to worry about specific name problems if, you know, they never can actually touch down on the field and do things. This is interesting. So this is kind of been where we're heading right now with Yummy. Well, obviously, if you're Triff, you're in 2030 right now with the most teched out Yummy build to, you know, ever did exist, and that's fine. But from what we're looking here, Delta made a very, very big splash out of this weekend's YCS in both the main and the side decks, because this card literally says, hey, your opponent's activating the spell card. No. We don't deal with that here. You specifically are going to blank out any problematic spell card that your opponent's going to try to throw at you. That's why we like this card. You know, you need to be able to control what the opponent's doing, and you're going to get that resource option here. And also, Gamma gets about 9,000 more miles right now than Gamma has in a very long time. You're also going to notice down here, yeah, with Judgment 1, we're actually going as far as manipulating these odds, and we're actually going with triple warning. Warning has become probably one of the most broken powerhouse cards that we can kind of rely on right now in the times of Solemn Judgment, you know, being limited. We have to make these sorts of concessions now in order to, one, make sure that our deck remains as optimized as it can, but also, you know, make sure that we can hit, you know, the counter trap is pretty strong. Also see we're doing the thrust for, you know, your two big targets. Also do see that we are playing the Retaliating Sea down here. I don't feel like Retaliating Sea gets enough credit in this current day and age, but being able to roll this out and try to paralyze the opponent does very much seem like a good option. Outside of that, ta-da! Welcome to Yummy. The fact that they had enough room in here to build in some super poly targets is kind of crazy to me. And then we also have some Mitsurugi. That's actually the Lamia. It's actually the thing I loved about this list is, you know, Lamia just deploys and gets you that free level 8. Once you've got that level 8, which is going to be, you know, the Ami here, Ami just opens up so many doors for this deck. And actually to see that we've kind of rolled back and we're giving Lamia a shot again, I do think is really, really cool. We also do get to see, there's those Deltas again doing their job. Oh, look, Drivers down here. Like the fact that the Cyframe gear package is back in some extreme numbers is kind of crazy. Also, I've seen a lot of Dimensional Fissure showing up in these lists. Di-Fi definitely is cooking in this format. I don't know if people are really prepared for this, but the fact that Di-Fi just is going to be constantly removing any monster sent to the graveyard, especially against Yummy, you know, if you can start to take out their synchros, yeah, I mean, they can regenerate their resources, but they're going to have to get to those pieces in order to kind of do that. And, you know, if you're just getting full board wipes on your opponent, you know, through the Amino Murakumo, it really does become a big problem for these decks to be dealing with. So what do you guys think about all of these incredibly cool decks we got the chance to see out of this weekend's YCS? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys.
Patrons!
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.